Another big game happened last night, T.O. Auburn goes on the road and they lose at Texas Tech to Buzz Williams, or at Texas A&M to the Fighting Buzz Williams. And while acknowledging that Texas A&M is a very good team, despite the fact that they just lost 4 in a row, I feel like this was a sign of a team that had just won the SEC championship on Saturday night and celebrated like they won the SEC championship on Saturday night, and knows that they have Alabama, their arch rivals, coming to their place on Saturday. This was the most obvious trap game in the history of trap games. It was the trappiest trap that ever trapped. What do you make of Auburn's loss?
By the way, I drove past the Trap Museum in Atlanta on my way to Georgia Tech yesterday.
The Trap Museum?
You haven't heard of the Trap Museum?
I have not heard of the Trap Museum. Did you go?
Look it up. Anyway,
Did you go?
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you this. The worst possible trap game you could ever play is against a team that plays as hard as Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Like, that's the worst. And let's keep in mind, too, like, Wade Taylor, is he the greatest player to ever play at Texas A&M?
He's one of them.
Some nights he looks like it. Some nights he looks like the worst player to ever play at Texas A&M.
But that's the same for all of them.
Yes.
Like, all the great players had, like, because they don't stop.
Mm-hmm.
He very well could be. And then, was he great last night? No, he had 16 points and 5 of 15 from the field. But, like, they don't have to be efficient because they just play harder than you. And if you're going to play a trap game, that is suboptimal. Let's put it this way, to play against A&M. Those guys play incredibly hard, and they just beat you to death.
Yeah, I mean, Robert Williams was damn good at A&M. Remember when they had Admon Gilder, T.J. Starks? I mean, but I'll tell you what, like, that Taylor's had a legendary career there. Legendary.
Hey, let's put some respect on AC Law's name, okay?
Yeah.
He was good.
AC Law the fourth. What is it with Texas A&M and guys who are the fourth? AC Law the fourth, Wade Taylor the fourth. If you're the fourth, if you're a point guard and you're the fourth of your name in your family, go to Texas A&M because you're going to be an absolute dog.
Come on now though. I don't feel any differently about Auburn.
No.
They're the number 1 overall seed. They could lose again. They're the number 1 overall seed. They could lose 2 more times. The number 1. They are not losing the number 1 overall seed. They are going to. They got Alabama on Saturday. If they win that game, it don't matter if they lose the first game of the SEC tournament. They are the number 1 overall seed. Make no mistake about it. You shouldn't be worried. They didn't have Denver Jones, or as Goodman said, Dylan Jones. They didn't have Denver Jones.
He called him Dylan Jones last night, and then he called Dallin Hall Dylan Hall. Like, what is it with him and people named Dylan?
He doesn't do well with that. He doesn't do well. He showed his age. Look,
he spent too much time shopping. That's what the problem was. He was
is there nothing less surprising than the fact that Goodman doesn't put his groceries up when he comes home?
That is crazy talk. I mean, I do want to do everyone's like, oh, who he coached for. I want to do a who he played for with Goodman. I mean, now, like, I really want to. I want to just do like a high major who he played for at the Final Four. I think we're going to have to because I need to see what he does. Listen, A&M had to win this game. Oh, and I know what you're thinking. No, they didn't. Yeah, but at some point, like, they had to win a game, period. They lost 4 in a row. This was a prime chance for them. This is like I don't mean to take anything away from the win, but Auburn fans did, I want to get your thoughts because I see you guys in the chat. Like, this is like what I like to call a resume misnomer. So, like, when you look at the resume, like, it's a good thing for A&M. And they're good enough to compete with some of the best teams in the country. But, like, if you said that they beat Auburn, you wouldn't have said that they beat them at this point in the year when they had lost 4 in a row. Like, I'm still with A&M, I think they're a Sweet 16 team. I don't think they're beyond that. And I don't even know if they're that. I think that's their ceiling. Excuse me. I think Sweet 16 is their ceiling. Like I think they're probably I think they'll win their first round game and then they're matchup dependent in the second round of the tournament. But I don't trust them overall, even though they won this game. Auburn was hungover. They celebrated that win in Lexington like it was out of control. Who knows how much they partied, but I'm not worried one bit about Auburn. Big picture, I think A&M, to their credit, they knocked down enough shots. I think they hit 9 threes in this game, and when Phelps and Taylor are cooking, they do have a shot against most teams.
That's the key. That's the key. Like those guys are going to be when they the structure of what Texas A&M does is like we got two guys that are streaky scorers, not just shooters, streaky scorers, and we're going to bet on them getting hot and bet on the fact that if they're not hot, we are the best offensive rebounding team in college basketball. So it's like let these dudes cook, and when they're not cooking, we're going to go get these second chance opportunities, which is like it's kind of a risky way to play, but it makes sense with the way that this roster has been built and like kind of what Buzz Williams likes out of a team. I get it. Their whole team is old enough to be Fanta's dad. About that. That's what they're saying about Auburn right now. They're old. They're old.
Yeah, they are old. And
Chad Baker Mazzara and T.O. were actually in the same high school class. They played AAU together.
It's just it's. I think one thing I would say is this: Auburn still has the opportunity to be crowned as a historic team if they win out from here. If they do, if they end the season, I said this on Sirius the other day. Like T.O., agree or disagree on this? If Auburn were to win out, and I don't think they'll win the SEC tournament by virtue of they don't need to. Mm-hmm. They don't need to.
I hate that.
What do you mean?
I hate that. I just I'm sorry to say it, and this is coming from a guy who went to a school who's never won his conference tournament. I love conference tournaments. I understand why you don't have to win.
I do too. No, I do too. I love them too, but I'm also would Arkansas making a run in the SEC tournament surprise you? No, it shouldn't.
Well,
that would surprise me a little bit at this point.
I don't think that they're not going to win. Auburn's not going to win the SEC tournament because they don't have to. I just think like if they're going to win it, their last 3 games are going to be against a top 15 team in America. Then in the semifinals are probably going to be playing like a top 6 team in America. And then in the championship game, it's like one of the top, another number 1.
No one plays to lose.
Yeah.
It's not playing to lose. The method's like it's playing to lose. No, it's not playing to lose. It's just they're going to show up to the conference tournament. They don't have to win maybe as badly as others.
Honestly,
I don't know what their mindset.
That's also true. Also true. Also true.
I don't know what their mindset's going to be. Listen, though, I will say this. If they win the SEC tournament and win the national championship, they belong in the class of the greats because they will have only had 3 losses in the best conference we've ever seen.
Yep. I think there's an argument to be made for Duke as well, but I have a fun set on Duke we're going to get to here in a second.